I'm so bold to say anybody that says I'm born again but don't fear God, I doubt the kind of heart you were given, because that heart is customized to fear only God, so that you can disappoint any man because you have to please God. It is one heart that has been customized, and God is telling us how he has fine-tuned that heart. He said that heart will fear only God. And look at this. He said they will fear me forever for the good of them. That means if you fear God and you follow that way, if you follow that way of the fear of God, it's for your own good, for the good of them. Number 2, and of their children after them. Yensuro nyame manyame, yensum nyame manyame, yesum no ma yeho, yesuro boni ma yeho, yesuro wiase ni mu aftantan de no, yesuro say ye men ho ma ya ye kra. Wow, because of your own soul. He said for your own good, for their good and their children's good. And when we tell you to stop sin, it's not to do God a favor, it's to do yourself a favor. That is what the Bible is teaching us. I will give them one heart and one way, and this will be the characteristics of the way. They will fear me forever for their own good and for the good of their children. Oh, so wumpo na wumpe wo yi amesra wo ba 3 years ni ntitwe wo free bonem no sura wurade. So why would now say wumpe wo humpa o menti. Verse 40, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their heart, that they shall not depart from me. The bravest people on earth, the people with the greatest of boldness, are people who are confident enough to sin. Those who face lions are not as bold as those who knows what sin is and still commit it. He said that I will put my fear so that they will not depart from me. That means anybody that says I have backslided from the church, don't fear God. I used to be a Christian, but I don't feel it again. He says you don't fear him. And the Bible says that it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of God. Hey, let me repeat myself. Me say say we see Osuroma nearby beto no suroma. Into us what didn't who was show mu said a one sign were chin free the water. If anybody that is actually departing from God has already trampled over the fear of God. What name say Yesu Christo Basa Asisu? Isaiah chapter 11 was talking about the 7 spirits that will be upon Jesus. He said one of the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of knowledge, the spirit of might, the spirit of counsel, and one of the spirit is the spirit of the fear of God. So when God became man, he put a spirit to fear himself as God. No man there survives without the fear of God. So when God wanted to be a man, he baptized himself with the spirit that will fear the God in spirit. So when the God in flesh came out of the ministry of the spirit of fear, he said that my meat and my drink is to do the will of him that sent me. I am the same with him, but as I've stepped into flesh, all flesh must fear him. And to be at the safest part, I must baptize myself with the spirit of the fear of God. To be on the safest part. When I also unsure ready, ada benkesi ni bebom, ada benkesi ni bebom. The Bible says of a parable. He said that the young man was speechless when the king came and said, "Where is your garment?" The parable of the wedding. He said, "And we'll call the people in the street, and when they all came, they changed their garment to suit the occasion. But there was a young man that still stayed in the wedding with his own tattered clothes." Talking about people who are in church living an unrighteous lifestyle. Living an unrighteous lifestyle. You have come to the bridegroom, in the wedding, with the wedding ceremony. Every church service is part of the wedding ceremony. What we are doing is part of the wedding ceremony. But there are still people who are praying and still in a very dirty lifestyle. You are still wearing the garment that is not meet for the wedding. He said, when the king came and he asked, the man was speechless. And you can't obeka fast saw, but in your beka. Bible says you'll be speechless. And then I'll be yourself what him. And then I'll be catch a say a useless, jobless man. I am jobless. What 12 o'clock water? Do you know the prayers I've prayed? Do you know the counsels I've done? Do you know the calls I've received? Do you know the books I've written? Before sitting here, whilst you are asleep, you still call me lazy. You still call me lazy. Oh, but you see, you can insult me and go scot-free, but there is a God coming one of these days. The Bible said, when he asked you why we preach the gospel and you didn't receive, the Bible said that God, when he asks you, you'll be speechless. Your tongue will cleave to your mouth. It can't operate. He said, I'll give them one heart, and I'll give them one way, and they will fear me for their own good and for their children. Right now, boy, brabo mutro, and ne kakra, and then I anyway kakra, chana ye diwe hontro kakra, na warifo na muko, na warifo na mudi intro, na mu koso na no man factor. Hey, abusia, utinya mi fie di adani wino. Asori a wo banyi na nye bibia ntia e mai wa asori dem wa no mo de tantia and one thing na kwa asori sin shall no more have dominion over you, because you are not under the law but under grace. He said, because grace has abounded, should we continue to sin? Oh God, Jesus, Apostle Paul to me shared the whole Corinthian church. A whole church, Obiko boy Gamai, APA, the whole church here. And no purpose on TB da. Obiko boy Gamai in the whole city ni city ni in sorry. Yet a news, my actual Bible. And the grace man's in Prantian and come quiet, cast a true Bible maybe. Yet and so the Aka, the Abeki Kamwa. And so a whole city. One man's fornication spread. That means it was not common. But today we are quoting that same man's epistle to fornicate anyhow. Is it not the same man that said, I beat myself, that after I've preached I will not be a castaway? Or no beating a one that day when the Lord will sit on his throne, and we will have to answer why we hid behind titles and hid behind doctrines and hid behind human rights and hid behind feminism and hid behind teens and youthful exuberance and messed up our lives. People, the only thing they fear is the fear of death, the fear of poverty, the fear of divorce, the fear of this. That is all they fear. The fear of sickness, but never fear God. Never fear God. The fear of losing a job, the fear of losing a capital, the fear of being bounced a visa, the fear of that, only the fear of challenges, and never fear the God over challenges. Yes. Then I want to say surrounding in Antony family surrounded. Ni anshadi says people need to tunyira. Everyday fan unyami suro bomesu. Fanyame suro ebomesu minya sika ama me nkoso nsuro me baji din ama me nkoso nsuro se minya broche kwa ama me nkoso nsuro ye woni pa na da asori dem no mu di da asori dem ene wo kodro America wo didi asori fo atem ye ene wo kan dollar obi a no da asori dem that program as sum nyame pie kwan ma sunu kotogu ne ho o say people who go to church in Africa are lazy. Character is never tested until breakthrough comes. Your people are why omumpa banu yesi pengradi hu mu 12 biem. Nyame ye omumpa pengradi hu mu 12 biem. Because a who of a problem being in another bompa. Nyame ye amani any free wopa on near radini case. Radini case. Radifa usuro bomesu fa usuro uhusuro bomesu mesorianopa. Let me deal with my wife in the fear of the Lord. Let me deal with my husband in the fear of the Lord. Let me deal with the church in the fear of the Lord. Let me go to work in the fear of the Lord. Let me be a student in the fear of the Lord. Lift up your voice.